Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Mindset Kitchen podcast with your host Chef Hashim and Kareem. So, hey Kareem, what's up? How's it going?
What's up, Chef? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Super excited to do this. I think you were traveling. I'm going to blame this on you, bro. You were traveling for a little bit. I hope you had a nice trip. And I was missing you, man. And I was missing the show. So I'm glad we're back in action today.
I mean, little bit is like a understatement. I've traveled a lot in the past 1 month. So altogether, it was like almost a month. I did 2 trips to Serbia, to the Balkans. Fully recharged and back to work and ready to travel again soon. So anyways, Kareem, I miss you too, bro. I miss the show too. So, bro, I think today I was quite excited when Kareem messaged me to say, you know what, I was like, what's the topic today? And he's like, we're going to revisit one of the topics that we did. And so, Kareem, what is the topic, bro? And something specific. You have something specific in mind today. What is the topic?
Yes. Yeah. So, guys, if you're following our episodes, you probably may have come across our episode in the past where we talked about mindset, the book Mindset by Carol Dweck. Basically, fixed mindset versus growth mindset. It's funny because you probably know fixed versus growth, but you may not know that it comes from that book. Anyways, it's a very big, robust book. Boom, there you go. Thank you. I have it on my Kindle. But yeah, basically, I know the topic like intellectually, but I've never actually bought the book until recently. And Chef, I hit you up and I'm like, man, this book goes a lot deeper than what we discussed.
Yeah.
And I want to focus on, maybe we'll even do more in the future, but today I want to discuss really, man, like how having a fixed mindset is really killing us or is just causing us so much stress, So I want to start off with a quick intro and then we can, improvise or just see what we feel like from our experience. So to kick things off, man, just a quick recap, if people don't know, fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Fixed mindset means you believe that whatever you were born with and whatever capabilities you have is pretty much set in stone. That's basically it. That's the cards you've been dealt. Live with it. Growth mindset believes that you have been dealt a set of cards, but this is dynamic and it's constantly changeable. It's actually up to you and specifically up to your effort/hard work to improve your situation, improve your situation. But what's interesting is how both groups respond to challenges and adversity in general. Today we're going to focus on the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset people, when something goes wrong in their life, just like it's very normal to happen in anyone's life, they take it personally and they take it, Chef, as I was telling you, like as a personal insult to their very existence. It's like you telling me, Kareem, you are not Kareem. Like this is not your name. It's like, but this is me. Like, who am I going to be? Tom? Like, this is who I am, And so that's basically it. When someone has been encouraged to, I don't know, I'm holding a pen. When someone has been encouraged to say, people are always telling him, you're smart, you're intelligent. These are all positive things. But if you think about it, it's also like labeling, positive labeling. And there's disadvantages to that where, they realize that, okay, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, but if I'm ever in a situation where I do not feel smart or intelligent, this is going to affect me at a core level. Why? Because I have a fixed mindset that, and so what happens is they start to fight back and they start to, in some cases, lie, and it just causes them a lot of stress in general. But I wanted to ask you, man, like, what's your experience with the fixed mindset? Have you ever had that yourself before?
I mean, first off, I think we like Kareem said, we did discuss, we did not go into too much detail, but for people who are wondering, it's episode 17 called Growth versus, fixed mindset.
Fixed, yeah.
In that, we did discuss, we scraped like 10% of the topic. But like today, Kareem said, we'll focus more on fixed mindset. The biggest, just adding on to what Kareem said, the most easiest and simplest way to understand what is fixed and growth is, most of us Middle Eastern people from the Middle East region or Asia, like majority of us, I would say honestly 80% of us are born with this mindset. Okay? And forget the growth. We're talking about fixed. Fixed mindset in simple term is the most easiest way to understand is your intelligence is fixed at birth. Like how smart you are is fixed. There is
North
no
African
way.
cultures as well, Egypt. And
Yeah,
all that, yeah, same thing.
So it's like either you are born a genius or you are dumb. Either you are talented or you're not. So this is usually
Either you
the
are
reason.
poor or you're rich.
Yeah, exactly. So like Kareem said, this is why Kareem said there are particular things which are very positive, like saying, he's very talented. Like one of the things that there are some friends or people I know, because I do a podcast, because I do videos, okay, they think, Shiaf can easily do it because he's so the most
Charismatic.
abused. No, bro. I mean, charismatic, handsome, and all are like still more like it's more specific. They use the word smart. Smart means it's like a superpower. Apparently, there should be a guy called Smart Man, like Superman. I'm sure if they made a comic, it would be very famous. So, one of the easiest way to say it is, and if you go, I really recommend everyone to go listen to that podcast. In that, we do mention about that example of the elephant. Yeah, you remember the story,
Yep.
right? Why a big elephant has this small chain holding this. The reason is because the elephant grows up with that small chain, and when it grows up, it actually thinks this chain is going to hold him. This is exactly when it comes to fixed mindset, a set of beliefs that we actually have. Now, this could be like, I will never be good because I'm not good in business. This is what I was told because I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. How
Right.
can you do business?
It's like I'm just not good in business. It is what it is. I'm gonna live
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
Now, coming to the topic, what Kareem was saying, how fixed mindset is actually, really killing us. Now, this is, I think, it's sad. But it's not means it's not changeable. But a lot of us who actually struggle from this, it is killing us slowly because
Yep.
most of the situations that we face in life. Like, for example, one of the biggest traits of people who have the fixed mindset is they are always worried or concerned about how they look. Like, for example, they always want to seem smart rather than actually put the effort or do the work. Now they say
Yeah.
if you want to catch this mindset at a very young age, you can look at in a classroom. You will see some students who are really hardworking. Okay, but they don't bring in results sometimes. And immediately this kind of students are saying, this guy is useless. He has no scope. But there are some students, for example, the very reason they work very hard at times is to look smart, not for anything else. So what happens is when all of your efforts is just to look smart, because for a fact that, working hard is not going to get you anywhere or building a skill. What really matters and other is just to look smart and look like the person who knows it all. So,
And can I say something quickly?
Yeah.
They were saying it's such a simple thing, but it's so profound, bro, which is people's attitudes towards effort. And when I read this, man, I had like literally like goosebumps as I was reading it because I was like, damn, like this is literally like how a lot of us think in Egypt. And to be honest, like me as well, like I had this fixed mindset in many, many aspects of my life, which is if you were good, you do not need to put effort. Effort is for people who suck, who need to compensate for this. They need to stay back in class and they need to put in more effort. And so it's like if you're a failure, all hope is lost, but maybe you can put some effort and we'll see. Maybe you won't be as big of a failure. But effort was basically seen as a bad thing. It's like it's like a last medicine resort. And yeah, sometimes you could be smart, but it's just so interesting because effort is seen as like a taboo or like, man, that's shameful. You had to put in effort. Why didn't you just get it the first time? Now you have to put in effort, when in fact, as maybe some of our listeners and viewers would know, effort is the thing that begets that success, and as a result, it should be cherished and it should be, appreciated as such. But it's just so interesting that I changed my mindset. I like to think speaking of smart, I like to think I'm smart and whatever because I'm reading books and stuff. I read this and I felt so dumb, bro, because I just felt like, wow, because I still felt the same thing about effort. I was like, I wish I don't need to put in effort. I wish it came naturally, but I guess I just have to do the effort. But what I'm realizing is that effort is the thing that takes you there. I know it's such a simple concept, but it's crazy.
I mean, if you come back to the crux of it again, because people who possess or who have this kind of mindset, which is a fixed mindset, you actually, the reason they don't actually grow. See, what is the most important aspect of growth is effort and hard work and trying to better yourself. Yeah. But a fixed mindset person, it's like the sad thing is you're starting the race to fail, because from the get-go you don't have any importance for effort. So this is why growth is very, very difficult for these people. And because you don't value effort, any
your
obstacle
relationship with effort is off.
Yeah, and any challenges or any obstacles, like for example, you'll always people with this kind of mindset, they'll always avoid challenges because one, they know challenges, any challenges that come in your life, you need to actually work hard. And from the get go, your mindset is, what, there is no point in me working hard because I cannot get better at, let's say, creating a video or starting a business, because that's already gone. And anytime when an obstacle comes your way, you always try and hide from it because you really don't want to look bad. So, you try and, and usually you give up very easily, because what happens in the process of effort also is the more effort you put, the more you try, there is multiple layers of failure. And for somebody with a fixed mindset, failure is like
you're embarrassing yourself by trying. By the more effort you put, the more stupid you are. I'm just being blunt, but the more effort you are, that means you're really dumb, and that's embarrassing, especially if you work in public and stuff like that. Yeah.
And see, most of us, I think nobody can say we are 100% growth, because see, I've been reading this book and I've been going through these concepts for a long time, especially precisely 5 years, because 5 years before. Somebody who I knew very well told me, you know what, Shiaf, I think you need to have a growth mindset, and I think you're suffering from fixed mindset. Surprisingly, at that time, I did not like what I was hearing. But what happened was, I'm not saying I'm 100% growth. Yeah, I think all of us have a balance, and situation to situation. There are some things in your life you're all about the growth mindset. Like you throw any challenges, there are a lot of kinds of challenges that you throw at me, I will happily jump into it. There are some kind of challenges I might showcase fixed mindset traits as well. But sometimes many of us also misunderstand fixed and growth mindset for being open-minded and close-minded. I mean, it is connected at times, because it is true, because sometimes when you are having a growth mindset, right, you are always open for new ideas or new perspectives, because growth mindset people are extremely connected with learning, like constantly learning, because for them learning never stops. Yeah, it's an ongoing process. But when you have the fixed mindset, there is like you already decided, this is all what I can get. I'm not going to go anywhere ahead. And just before I forget this, there was one story in the book that talks about that, man, where I forgot the names of the people, but this person who was basically like an Olympic swimmer or something like that. Basically, she Michael
did
Phelps.
like no. I didn't get to that part yet. Someone who's less famous. It's a girl, and like she did really good, I think, as a swimming like athlete or Olympic person. And this is what she's known for. Like that's the personal brand, blah blah blah. And she purposely decided, and people are like, okay, keep going. That's your path. Just keep going. And she purposely, I think, changed her path and decided to go to law school or something like that to become like a well-known lawyer. And everyone was like, but you had like a path that was working for you. Like, why are you? She's like, no, I love starting from scratch. I love this process. This is how I want to see how much I can push myself. And when I'm ahead, I want to purposely go back to the start line of something else and try that, which is amazing. It's literally the exact opposite of fixed mindset. Fixed mindset would be like, okay, thank God I have something that's working for me. Let me just keep a low profile and just hope to God this just keeps on going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no one notices.
Crazy. Exactly.
And surprisingly, I remember, I'm just recalling something I read in the book. A lot of chapters in the books, or a lot of stories in the books, are connected to educate, like in the sense about education and what happens in our education system. I remember one of the ways, let's say, how people can start inculcating this is sometimes, like everything, it starts verbally. Like there is an example of how one of the worst performing class of in mathematics or one of the subjects in the US. and how one of these teachers, she's a very big advocate of growth mindset. So by just telling these kids or making them feel like just changing the narrative, how this class became, because here how fixed mindset plays is, the example, if I'm remembering correctly, was the school is in one of the suburbs and it's a public school and it has the reputation, like the people used to think, this is a public school, you can't expect anything good out of them. And sometimes this is how this bounces off. Like how you can project. Let's say if you're a parent and this is the belief that you have. If you're a teacher, this is the belief that you have. And I think the worst people who can have this belief is a parent or a teacher, because you're responsible for other people. And if you believe intelligence is limited or fixed at time of birth, then believe me, you are, I think you're doomed. So this teacher, what this particular teacher did was she changed this whole concept of, anybody, all of these people in this class can actually score really high. What ended up happening is one of the highest scoring marks classes was in New York. It was a private school. This particular class, it was, I think, in the black community in US. They scored higher than the private school in New York when it came to calculus, or one of the most difficult subjects. And all this happened in a year's time. So I think, end of the day, like most of the concepts that we discuss over here, right, Kareem, this is not something that you have to change physically. It's not about going to the gym and taking reps. But over here, it's, again, doing the mental reps where you have to keep, reinforcing. You have to keep reaffirming yourself. Because most of us, I remember there are a lot of areas, I really struggled from the fixed mindset. Okay, even when I started my entrepreneurial journey, I used to think, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. From I cannot, it took me like 3 years to actually, why not? Why can't I?
Why not?
And from why not? Why can't I? Then after that, definitely let me give it a try. So this is now, I think even now I try really hard. So whenever a new situation presents itself, immediately I will be like, let me give it a try. Compared to 7-8 years back where, so this is like 3 phases. This was personally for me, because what I've seen is, I'm sure in many of the episodes that we keep talking about, like, there was an episode we spoke about invisible scripts. Okay. So what these mindsets, especially fixed mindset, is one of the strongest invisible scripts that we have.
100%. Yeah.
Like being successful is only traveling is for the rich, okay, and doing a business is for people who have, the most common example is the moment you see somebody on social media today. I think lot of us become extremely judgmental because we have fixed mindsets. Because when we see somebody who's worked really hard, immediately you are like, there is some other reason he's successful. Like if you can't make out, it could be he has a rich father. It could be the case.
That's deep, man. I have family members, and I'm happy to say this publicly because I constantly confront them on this, bro. I mean, I'm part of the Mindset Kitchen crew, so this is my job. But like, they always come up with an excuse. This is my family, so I can talk freely about. Always come up with an excuse, exactly like you said, Chef, of why something happened, and sometimes it drives me crazy. It's like, could it be that maybe they just put in the right amount of effort and hard work? No. They knew somebody famous, or they just got a lucky break. And sometimes people project it. This is where it gets really, really real, man. Sometimes they do that as a form of defense mechanism because they are hiding. They cannot possibly confront the fact that, by the way, you could do the exact same success, maybe even more, but you're just lazy and you don't want to put in that effort, and it's a lot easier to hide behind layers, like you're saying, Chef, of, it's things that are out of my control. These guys are, they're famous, or blah, blah, blah. It's a very advanced form of procrastination, if you think about it.
And I remember I remember mentioning this even in the last episode that we did, the actual episode that we did. If you start reading a lot of the self-help psychology books out there, you will start understanding that, honestly, once you finish this book, Kareem, you'll also, I hope you come to the same conclusion, because most of the psychologists out there, people who specialize in behavior, they all of them base a lot of their concepts on these two things, because this is like the crux or the core of the mindset. Because this is why Carol Dweck, she has so many years. I think before this book, she had another publication which later got transformed into this book. So if you actually look, most of the negative traits, okay, you can quote me on it or you don't quote me on it, but still this is the case. Most of our negative traits, end of the day, has connection to fixed mindset. Because if you look at spirituality, okay, even most of the world religions or spirituality, they are all about the growth mindset. Fixed mindset, this is, there are a lot of people, you might say, this concept of destiny. They say, you know what, everything is fixed. There's no point of, if you actually connect it in that manner, and this is how many people actually fail in their lives, because this fixed mindset actually, literally, like, a good way to say is how it actually kills us slowly, eventually. Not like, you lose your breath, but literally it kills relationships, it kills your job opportunities. Because when I hire, or even when I meet new people, these days I'm very, very specific about this. I ask them questions, I listen to them, and usually it's trick questions, but not trick questions in the sense to trick them into something, but just to understand where they're coming from. Like
how they think.
How they think. Just ask them, what do you think? Where do you see yourself? This question, a very cliche question in interviews, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years, 2 years, or what is your vision for the next 5 years? This is a very simple question. Next time when you ask this, you can listen to what the person is saying. So if the answer is, if it's something generic, still okay. But people who usually have a growth mindset, they have a very clear idea, because they know, if I have 5 years of time, and with the hard work that I'm putting, I can definitely reach somewhere. So I just,
that's amazing.
For me,
it's true.
For me, it is just, even like I said, many negative traits. Victim mindset is directly connected to fixed mindset as well. If you actually look at it.
Yes, that's true actually. And I wanna say something that's a bit tangential, but I think I wrote this down the other day after listening to a podcast, probably by Dan Sullivan. He didn't say it like this, but this was my interpretation of what he said. And it's about happiness in general. And it basically says happiness is a form of self-confidence, And I'll speak about my experience, man. Because I think with you as well, like, we always want to just share our personal stories for the listeners. But many times, bro, I'd feel like worry or anxiety or whatever about like the future and any like future challenges that most of them do not even exist. But it's something that I foresee, like, oh, probably in 1 year we're gonna have so and so challenge. And I realized that sometimes that affects like someone's happiness. And so, one of the things that I realized is being happy is actually an act of self-confidence, confidence in yourself that you have learned from your past, and that you're not dumb, that you've learned, which basically means that you're not sleeping, that you are aware of your past, you have taken some lessons from that. And also, and this is tying back to your point, Chef, which is confidence in your future self, that your future self, that Chef 1 week from today, not even 2 years, 1 week from today, will definitely be smarter than the Chef of today that we are speaking to right now, because he has plus 1 week of experience. Whatever happened today that Chef learned from, he has that knowledge 1 week later. And imagine 1 year, imagine 10 years. So you're betting on a future version of yourself that you will be able to rise to meet that challenge, even if I speak from it, even if my not fully developed self right now cannot comprehend how to solve something. When I'm there, I will be smart enough to solve it. Do you get me?
Yeah, bro. I mean,
what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think this, when you start thinking about it, it's, for some people it can be very complex. Yeah. For if you actually, I always, one of the examples also I think about is, the story of I think in the last episode we discussed the turtle and the rabbit. Slow and steady wins the race. This is also a very, very good example of the growth and fixed mindset, by the way. Like the turtle was all about the growth mindset, let's say, and the fixed mindset, more than the growth mindset in this story, they highlight the fixed mindset of the rabbit or the hare or whatever you want to call it. Because this guy thought, I am very well skilled. I can always, this guy is so small, he's very slow. But I don't want to repeat the story again. If you listen, we try and put this into context. But honestly, when you were giving that example, Karim, forgive me, I was thinking, my mind was going somewhere else. Was how can we change this? How if somebody's listening, how do you think if somebody's identified themselves, or definitely if you do a quick Google search, you will see hundreds or thousands of articles on this, a lot of videos on this. Even Carol Dweck has a lot of content out there. If you can identify yourself on, what, I think I have fixed mindset traits in particular areas in life. What do you think is one thing that you might have felt or will be valuable for initiating the change or start migrating towards the growth mindset?
Bro, it's I imagine it's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous. Like the first step is to just realize that this thing exists, or realize the situation and realize that there is such a thing as fixed and growth mindset. And even it was so cool in the book. I really recommend that book, as I'm sure you would, the mindset book, because she was saying that even in some of the research, it's like very meta. She would show them the fixed versus growth mindset research, and this is the research. And she notices that by just studying the material, people are able to, to apply that. So I think that's just the first thing. And honestly, like it's something that, because as you were saying, like no one is 100% growth mindset. I think this is just an aspiration that people have. And the way I would break it down is that some situations you're 100% growth minded. Other situations you might not be very growth minded. I'll give you the most fantastic example right now. So we just got a new puppy, as you know, and I told my wife, listen, so he's a puppy, so like we have to wake up at night to like
feed
take him out,
take him out,
to do his business, stuff like that. Yeah. So I told
answer
my
nature's
wife, look,
call. Yeah.
Exactly. I told her, let me take the morning shift, but I'm gonna need you to take the night shift, because if I do that in the night, like my mind is not going to be able to function later on, and that day will be burnt. So I'm even willing to wake up early, like 6:30 or something, which is early for me. And this will be my morning shift. And so I think I'm a bit fixed mindset about that I believe that if I wake up in the middle of the night for whatever reason, my day will guaranteed be shot.
There you
although
go.
Although it might not be the most 100% optimal, it will not be shot. This is just I'm realizing this now, so maybe I could do some work on that. But I would just challenge myself to take small situations like this one and see how I can challenge myself to go from fixed to growth. But what about you?
I think definitely there are a lot of tips out there, but one tip that really helped me personally is after, knowing more and more about this is, at least with my kids, I've seen a drastic difference when you start telling them, like, it's like positive affirmations. Yeah. You, whatever the script is, the invisible script of fixed mindset is, start saying or affirming the opposite. Like, for example, you cannot do this because you are a dash, whatever. You can do this because you are an X. In certain scenarios, this makes a lot of difference. So I started saying, I literally changed my script when I actually interact with my kids, even when I interact with my team members, for that matter, because at one point, connecting to Surrounded by Idiots, that book or the episodes that we did, I used to feel I was completely surrounded by fixed mindset people. But then, no, I used to feel like that but then you take one step back. Like every other situation, you can't blame anybody, like, who has a fixed mindset. Nobody, comes and decides, what, I'm going to have a fixed mindset. It's just that all of our upbringings, this is like 20, 30 years of unlearning. And
exactly. So
one thing is definitely start the fastest or the easiest thing that you can do is we can start going against those scripts that we have. Like, in Indian cultures, there is a lot of emphasis on beauty. Yeah. The beauty standards. So people say, if you, if you have an advantage the way you look, if you have an advantage the way you speak, okay, you will get a success.
Your public appearance.
Yeah, your public appearance. But, a lot of these things have been proven wrong and wrong again and again. So one tip that I want to give is start looking at the evidences out there as well. Because most of the people, many people who actually watch movies, who actually are into this, like the industry that comes from India, majority of the industry, one side of the industry is heavily look focused, how appearance focused. One side of the industry is heavily talent focused, for example, skill focused. And the people who have always been appearance focused, right, over the course of time, they've never gotten better at their craft, which is acting. They only try and enhance with more procedures to look better. But on the other hand, the people who are always on the craft or the talent side, these people in the past 5 to 10 years, they've heavily worked on their craft. They keep getting good at it. So, I mean, there is evidence all around you in today's world where we are living. So definitely my tip is start catching yourself, like Kareem said. If next time you have a fixed mindset thought, like thinking or a script, try catching yourself and try saying the opposite. And one more thing specifically, I don't know if I mentioned this example in the last episode. We have something called, the IQ test. Now, this is very interesting, which even Carol Dweck speaks in the book. This IQ test was actually invented not for the reason that it serves today.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, and the reason I'm taking this is most of us like to say, his IQ, Einstein's IQ was X. This guy's IQ. So that is the benchmark. The IQ test actually was invented. This mechanism was to make sure people could get different modes of education or different types of delivery, different types of, nurturing based on their level.
Based on the level.
Yeah. But
this level is not a prison sentence of who they are.
So, but what it turned out to be is people who have a very high IQ. So this is the cream. And the whole focus has to be on this cream. And again, one more example. I remember in the book also how they lied about the results, like how they did a survey of a lot of kids and they lied about the results of many kids who perform really bad and told them, you guys did really well. So as per the test, these kids scored the worst. But they were lied to saying you guys were the best. And how these kids in the next 10 years, they became prodigies in particular fields. So this is the only biggest takeaway. So if again, that same point, if you are somebody who's being told or you are telling your team members, friends, staff, kids, partner, anybody that, you can't do this, if you just start saying the opposite, people can actually, do a lot.
Make that change. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm really glad you mentioned the IQ thing because I remember reading that, and it's true. A lot of people, SAT scores as well is one of those, is a version of that where it's like, this is who you are, live with it, and man, it just makes you really question like testing in general, and how it should almost be like a subject in school of like, hey, don't take. Testing is not permanent. Like testing is just, it's like a balance sheet. It's a point in time and you can absolutely change it,
And Kareem, before we wrap, one example, very personal to me, one of my nephews, I'm quite close to him. I've been working with him for a long time, okay, in different areas. Initially, he used to keep trying things, okay, like he used to try it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it does not work. He used to say, nothing works. Yeah. And I used to constantly tell him, this is, I think you are struggling from fixed mindset. Read it. I don't know what happened after like 1 year of trying a lot of things and giving up. I think, for example, he used to create videos. He was really worried about how he's speaking, how he looks. Till the extent what he used to do was he used to cover himself. Like he used to not show his face in the videos. He used to only show his hands. And it was quite alarming. But, constantly, I, started talking to him. Many people got involved. Now, what has happened is all I told him is you don't focus about the numbers, the views, how things are turning out. All you do is just focus on building your craft. Fast forward 2 years. Now he has 2-3 different YouTube channels.
Nice.
He's put out more than 100 videos already.
Amazing. And he's growing.
And no, he's 13 years old. And he's enjoying it, and in the process, he's become really good.
I mean he's growing his channels now.
Yeah, and he's really gotten good at, like, for example, the cardistry thing. where you do
The
tricks
what?
with cards, the illusion with
yeah.
cards. So if you look at his channel,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example, there is a lot of videos. I still tell him, don't look at the views. But what has happened is in the process, because he got at one skill, which is good at cards, and he's gotten really good at making videos now. He stopped thinking. So again, I think he used to suffer from the fixed mindset. Now he does not care about all these factors. All he cares about is, okay, what can I learn? What can I get better at? I think that's
amazing.
all. If you guys have any questions, do let us know. Kareem, is there anything final you want to add?
No, man, that was a really cool story. No, I think people just. I hope people learn something new today, and it would be great if you can share your experience with us, guys. Like if you had an experience with the fixed mindset or the growth mindset, if you are going through something right now and you want a second opinion, let us know, and maybe we can cover it in the future.
So that's all, guys. As always, do like this episode, share this episode, leave us a rating. Let us know if you even don't like something. And we will see you. Especially. And we will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care, guys. Have a lovely week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.